Hi, this is Dr. McClellan, and this lecture video is about the resume writing assignment. You'll notice that the resume writing assignment, as with most of my assignments, there's two sections. First, there's an assignment content instruction section, and then there's an assignment format instructions. So for the resume, include all the sections except for a summary of a functional resume in correct format, and I have each of the sections there. Please don't use a template. If you copy and paste from a template, be sure that you get rid of all of the template formatting. Do put your resume sections in the same order as my example. Do not use pronouns. Do not use complete sentences. Use present tense verbs only. Be sure to boldface your subtitles and place them on the left margin. You will notice that mine are all caps. You can all caps yours if you want to. Type your skills resume using either size 10 or 12 font. And you want to use either Times New Roman or Arial font style. Most computers default to Calibri. You don't want Calibri, it's too big. And then type dark ink on a light background, preferably black ink on a white background. Be sure to save your resume as a PDF. I don't take any other files because they're hard to open on Blackboard. You can type your document in Word pages or Google Docs. It doesn't matter to me. And then, of course, upload and submit your resume to this assignment page. So let's get down here to the assignment format instructions. So you're getting all this information from your reading assignments. And there are quite a few. And as I said in my orientation video for Unit 2, they're all web-based. Two reasons for that. One, resume design does not stay the same. As the job market changes, so do resumes for different degrees. And then the second one is our book does not actually address anything about resumes or cover letters, so that worked out really well because I would have been using both. All right. You'll notice that I'm working on a split screen, so on this side of the screen, on the left side are the instructions, the format instructions, and on the right side, this is my resume. Now, it's not all of it because an English instructor, a college level English instructor, we don't do a functional or a chronological resume. We do a curriculum vitae, and that means all of these classes that we take are important. So the first section, let's get into the sections. The first section is your contact information. You don't use a subtitle for the contact information. Your name should be formatted one size larger than the rest of your font. You'll notice I'm in Arial. So I need to bump this up to size 14. And it should be bold-faced because you want people to notice it first. Use your most permanent address and phone number. If you put your cell phone number, be sure that you go into your cell phone and make sure that you have a professional greeting. You can, and put a professional email address too. You want something that's a combination of, well, typically you want a combination of your first name, last name. I don't use my first name, last name because LIT does not follow that. They didn't take Dr. McClellan's class. They don't follow that protocol. But yet typically you want your first name, last name. You can use periods, underscores, no nicknames. Don't go with any nicknames. Don't abbreviate any of your names, and try not to use any numbers with your names. Now, if your name is, John Smith, or Mary Jones, then you're going to have to be a little bit more creative, and then you can use numbers. Don't use any. The only symbols that you want to use are underscores. Excuse me. And I know this is silly, but I got to say it. Don't use the number 69. It has a connotation. All right. And you'll notice on my example, I've got all of this information here already. So the goal of this assignment is actually to get you a good master resume, something that you can use for any job that you apply for, even before you graduate from LIT. So for example, if I were going to send this resume to two different places, two different jobs, I would look at the job listing and I would make sure that I put ahead of everything else things that are specifically in the job listing. One of the things that AI is doing, that people are using AI for, is human resources, HR departments are using AI to look for specific words. So if you turn in a resume that doesn't have any of those words from the job listing, like for example, let's get into the objective. You know, the old way of doing this, I'll come back around, hold on, wait with me. The old way of an objective would be to put, I want a good job, making good money with a good company, utilizing my good skills. That doesn't fly anymore. We don't use that anymore. What we would need is the job title. So let's say Professor of Freshman Composition. And this is an actual job listing I saw when I was doing my research for this. I like to look things up, my research for this assignment. So my objective is to get the position of Assistant Professor of Freshman Comp 1. That's the actual job listing from the website. So you want to use the title of the job from the website. We don't do summaries. We don't do, we don't do those big descriptive things. Nobody reads them. Nobody has time to read them. And we're just in the beginning. Here I come back around to AI. We're just in the beginning of human resources departments using AI to get rid of resumes that don't meet their qualifications, is what they're doing. I don't see it going away anytime soon. You know, in a good economy, you know, you may have, I'll use dental hygiene for example. You may have a dental hygiene job and 5 people may apply for it. It's not hard to go through 5 resumes and figure out, you know, fairly quickly which ones meet and don't meet the job criteria. But in a bad job outlook or a bad economy, similar to what we're going through right now, though it is a little different. It is a little different from what I'm used to. But, you know, I'm a person of a certain age. Anyway, the tighter the job outlook or the jobs are out there, then you might have one dental hygiene position and get 200 resumes for it. In which case, AI will go through and get rid of everybody that doesn't have these particular keywords in their job description, in their objective, or anywhere else in their resume for that matter. So remember, just the job title in the listing that you're looking at. And you may you may send 3 resumes for 3 different jobs, and everything about each of those resumes that you're sending may be exactly the same except for the job listing. So always make sure that your objective is the job listing and it's the correct job listing for the correct job that you send that resume to. Okay, so there's my contact information. There's my objective. Oh, my bad. I got to follow my own instructions. Capitalize all the words of the job title. Assistant Professor of Freshman Composition 1. All right. And this is just for this assignment. You may not do that on your own resume. You may choose not to do that. You may decide you don't like how it looks. I like to do it because they see my name. It's a tiny little psychological idea. They see my name, and then they see the job title that I'm looking for, and their brain can link that together. It will link that together. Let's see. You know, they might be sitting in their office. Let's see. What was that? What was that person? What was that person's name? That only the freshman professor? Oh yeah, Rita McClellan. Oh yeah. And they don't even realize that one of the reasons they may remember that, put that name and that job together, is because both of them are formatted differently from the rest of my text. All right, so let's get down to skills. Okay, contact information is first section, objective is second section. So the third section is skills. You want job-related licenses and certifications. Job-related licenses and certifications. And you know what? I think I didn't put mine. I did, but I put them in my... So I put mine down here because it's specific to LIT. So what kind of licenses and certificates? Forklift certification, anything that you took at your TWIC card, if you have one, anything like that, put in there. So what not to put in there? Don't put that you have a license to open carry a handgun. That is not something you want to put on a resume unless it's required by the job. If it's required by the job, then you put it in there. Let's see what else. Oh, I have a whole list of them in my head now. I can't pull them out. All right, let's move on. Then list your degree classes by name. So technical writing, technical and business writing, if you put that on your resume, and I suggest that you do, that you put technical and business writing, not English 2311. Nobody knows what English 2311 means outside of this campus, and then only the people who take this class. So the name of the class. And then you want to put your skills in a 2 or 3 column bulleted list. So I'm going to bullet this. See all these English classes I took? I really do have to include all of that when I turn in, when I apply for a job. Okay, there's my bulleted list. And I've got 2 of these. They look fairly okay. I do have, this is out of order. Let me go in and change that. Okay, design 1, design 2. And as you're looking at your list, if you wanted to research qualitative, okay, I could go through and I could do this. Actually, what I would do is I would do 1, 2. And I would do, and then I would take this one out. See what I'm doing here? I've got a lot of information, and anywhere that I've got a 1 and a 2 section, I'm just going to take those out. I don't have a whole lot of them. You may, though. You may have more. Alrighty. All right. Education and training is the 4th section. First of all, do not list high school. Even if you just graduated from high school, don't list high school. This is a grown-up document. No one wants to know about high school. Plus, especially if you're from Texas, if you put on there that you say, for example, oh, I'm gonna pick on P&G in Nederland. If you put that you graduated from P&G and the HR person is from Nederland, I'm sure that their ethics will keep them from not offering you a job. They'll offer you a job regardless of the fact you went to, their rival, their football rival. But don't give them a reason to. Just don't give them a reason to. So no high school. Now you want to list your degree by its entire title. Do not abbreviate. The school you're attending, not abbreviated, and the city and state of school and your anticipated date of graduation. Now all of mine are already done because I've already graduated. So I'm going to put 2020. I'm gonna do an example. Okay, so I put my date of graduation, and year of graduation. I'm sorry, I put my year of graduation. I put the entire title of my degree, Associate of Applied Science and Business Management. If you don't know what yours is, look it up on the LIT website. And then I put the school I'm attending, Lamar Institute of Technology, and the city and state of the school. And again, here's my anticipated date of graduation. And I can take all these off. In a curriculum vitae, we include the years that we graduated, or we include, for example, if you're looking for a job before you've actually graduated with your doctorate, many times people will include their anticipated graduation date. Another way you can do this that looks just as fine, just as good as this, is you could put, don't put anticipated, put graduation date, and then put let's see, this is okay, May 2023. You could put that also. Do not include your GPA unless the job asks for it. If the job posting asks for it, then you have to put your GPA. Also, do not include colleges or universities that you attended but that you did not graduate from. But you can list specific training or courses you took at other colleges and universities in your skills section. For example, in my skills section, I have technical reports. Actually, I have technical reports 1 and 2. I took those classes at the University of, I'm sorry, I took these at Texas Tech up in Lubbock. I took online classes. So I didn't get a degree from Texas Tech, so I'm not putting it down here. But I did take a couple of classes through them, and so I'm going to leave that there. Let's see. Okay, so that's education, training. Yes, okay, work experience is your 5th section. Now, of course, you're going to use work. I use teaching because that's what the people I give my CV to are going to look for. Work experience, you could say employment experience if you wanted to. And the way you do this is, one, you want to go across the page as much as possible, as long as it's not a big long list like this. So you want your education and training to be all the way across the page if possible. Same thing with work experience. You want to go across the page. So work experience, so dates are first. So this is fall of, this is just fall of 2022, because these are some administrative duties that I assumed last semester. I'm not doing them anymore. list your job duties, and you want to put these also. Oh, hold up, let me back up. Okay, so dates, followed by job titles, followed by where, and then also followed by the city and state. And I did put LIT here and abbreviated it because the rest of this document, it says LIT and it's abbreviated. All right, now my job duties, I'm going to put in a bulleted 2 or 3 column list. So here, 2018 to 2022, lead English instructor, LIT, Beaumont, Texas. These are my job duties. The easy way to do your job duties is to just sit down and think about all of the, first of all, if you have a job description, take all of the information out of your job description. And if you don't have a job description, sit down and think of all of the things that you do. And what's going to happen is, let's say for example, someone looks at my resume and says, oh, write grant for this. And they may, if they want to know more, they're going to ask me more. I didn't say anything about what kind of grant this was. I didn't put dates on it. I just put the basic information. So you always want the basic information in your employment, because it'll be a lot easier, it'll be a lot easier for your audience, your HR person or the interviewer to figure out what they want to know more about. Give me another 2 columns. And you'll notice, and it's okay that I'm going back a long time. And the reason I'm going back a long time is because for my kind of job, they want to know all of my teaching experience. And the other reason I have it all, there's 2 reasons, is if I didn't include 2000 when I was at Southwest Louisiana, University of Southwest Louisiana in Lafayette, Louisiana, then I would have to leave this out. And some of the information in that part is very important. Specifically that I taught ESL classes at Lamar University. And that I was a teaching assistant, a graduate teaching assistant. Now there's a possibility, that somebody's not going to look at all this, of course. The farther back you go, they might, an HR person may think to themselves, well, I'm just going to look back as far back as 2015. And that's why we typically tell people, I typically tell students, don't put more than the last 5 years on your resume. But the other thing you can do that's really helpful is I could probably take all of this part here and I could probably cut it. Oh, I think I left some out. There we go. I could probably cut it and then on another page paste it there, and I could call it work. work experience continued. So it would be there, and they could look at it if they wanted to, but they can also ignore it if they want to. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to everybody? So you typically want to go back about 5 years. List most recent job to less recent job. So start with the job you have now or the job you had most recently, and then go chronologically back. Do about 5 years. But if you have other jobs, other work experience that was important that you need, and this is where it gets very individualized. I need this information. Let's say I'm applying for a job that isn't just about teaching students, but also teaching faculty how to use, a computer, or I would be teaching or mentoring other faculty members about how to use Blackboard Ultra. I need this information up here. And so I might just copy and paste this and put it up here and leave the rest of this down here. So you have to look at the job posting and decide, is there anything in your work experience that might be really old, but that is necessary, that people need to know about, that this HR person needs to know about because it's part of the requirements of the job. So you can have, if you're thinking, oh, I can only have one page, you can have especially the more work experience and the more education you have, you're going to be expected to have more than one page, a longer than one page resume. I'll get that out in a minute. And one of the ways that you can design it so that the HR person, the person doing the interviewer is not just wading through information they don't really need, is you can highlight all of the pertinent information on page 1 and then move everything else down to the next page. Okay, I hope that made sense. Always use present tense verbs in your job descriptions. Design, implement, mentor, design, cash out registers. All of those types of things, all of those words need to be present tense. I don't care if it's a job you had 40 years ago, it needs to be present tense. They take up present tense verbs. One, present tense verbs are immediate, and it puts that idea in the interviewer's brain that you've done that recently. And two, they take up less word space. All right, awards, honors awards and organizations. I have awards and organizations here. List them by date, the title, and the granting institution or organization. Be sure that you list all work and school-related honors, awards, and organizations. Now, if you're just out of high school, or you're within, say, 2 years of high school, some of the things that do look good on a resume are things like Eagle Scouts, and the highest level you can reach in Girl Scouts. I'm sorry, I don't know that. Do Girl Scouts do an Eagle Scout type of thing? I bet they do. I need to look that up. I'm sorry. You don't want to include things like Employee of the Month or perfect attendance or anything like that, because those are expected things that you're going to do. All right. Also, be sure to use the title that's appropriate. I don't have any honors. I have awards and organizations. Oh, and one other thing too. One of the things that you do need to be careful when you decide to put your organizations or awards down, just remember that with your resume, you do not want to give anyone a reason not to read it and to not hire you, not at least interview you. So putting religious affiliations, putting political affiliations, other kinds of personal affiliations is not a good thing to put on a resume. These are questions they can't ask you. They can't ask you what your religion is. They can't ask you um, what political party you follow. They can't ask you anything about whether or not you have or plan on having children. Uh, you could be 9 months pregnant in an interview, and they cannot ask you if you are pregnant or when your due date is. They can't ask you anything personal like that. They can't ask you about your sexual orientation. They can't ask you about your personal gender identification. They can't ask you any of those questions unless you put it on your resume, and then they can ask you about things like that. So you do not want to put that. Okay. And make sure that you check the punctuation. My bad. I just saw that. Shame on me. All right. So the last section is references, and we don't include references anymore. We just include the words references available upon request. Now, some people like to italicize them. I like to boldface them because it looks like the rest of the subtitles, subheadings, and everybody knows, anybody looking at it is going to see it and know what it is. All right. Oh, so and you don't subtitle this section. References are not included in your resume. You need letters of recommendation from your references. And what you do is you either take them to your job interviews and let the interviewer make copies, or even more commonly these days, the HR department that you're trying to, the company you're trying to get a job with, they're going to email a link to your references for them to either complete or upload your reference letter online. That's way more common. Okay, I'm gonna close this, and I'm gonna open this up so we can go back and we can look. So first of all, let's take a big step out. Let's see. So I have, why isn't it letting me do, oh, hold on. I need to do multiple pages. There we go. So I have 3 pages of resume. And what I'm looking for is, I'm just trying to make sure that everything is lined up the same way. And sometimes I personally can't tell. There we go. I did forget something. I need to bullet these. If you're going to use bullets, and you are, use bullets everywhere that you need them. There we go. I need that too. Every list should be bulleted. That looks nice. And see how much easier it is to see, from page to page. All right. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to look again. Yep, I got that. Look at this. I'm going to go ahead and abbreviate education. Everybody in my field knows that that's ED is education. And the reason I'm doing it is because I wanted to bring that up one. Now what I'm looking for now is I'm checking to make sure that I don't have, like, for example, work experience up here and then the section down there. I want to keep all of my subheadings with their sections. Yeah, and I want references available upon request right there at the bottom of the page, but then obviously there's a little bit more information if anybody's interested in looking at it. Yeah, this looks nice. I don't have any fancy lines or anything. You're welcome to do that. I will tell you that you really don't want to do it on this assignment because it'll make this assignment harder. See, because what I can do, let me go save this. So I've saved it. Now, let's say I've got a job that I'm going to apply for, and I open up my skills resume, and then, or functional resume, and then I'm going to save it under a different name. Oh, let's say, let's say I decide, let's say I'm applying for a job at the University of Houston, my alma mater. And I always like to put dates, y'all. So I would rename it. I would resave it. I would save it under a new name. Let me say that again. I would save it under a new name. Resume for University of Houston. So what the document is, where I'm going to send it to, and the date that I did this. Okay. Now see up here, it changes it. Resume for U of Houston. Okay. So let's say that for U of H, that's the job title. And let's say that this job, it's all about freshman comp. So I don't need, see all of these curriculum, education, degree, education classes and art classes. I really don't need these here. So I'm going to cut those, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to put them below my work set. What did I call that? Skills? Yeah. And I'm going to put it right, skills. I'll show you what I'm going to do with that here in a minute too. Okay, so because this is a professorship of Freshman Comp 1, I really only need to list the classes I took for my master's degree, my English classes. Now, if I had gotten, I would do this, if I were looking at a job posting that was for an instructor, an assistant professor of curriculum and instruction, then I would need to keep my education classes here and put my English classes at the bottom. So every resume is going to be a little different. Excuse me. Now I'm going to keep my education and training just like it is, because I do want people to know that I am Dr. Rita McClellan. I'm going to go ahead and take out my example there. So my work experience, that's all my work experience about teaching freshman comp, my honors, awards, and orgs. Now I want this part, I want it to be on the next page, not here. So I'm going to put my cursor up here behind reference available upon request, and I'm going to go to insert, and I'm just going to put a page break in there. There we go. It always comes down too far for me. So whoever's looking at this resume can look at all of these or not. It just depends on what they want to do. And I would also, let's say for example, I wanted to add, students always want to add lines. So let's say, oh, no, not smart art. Where'd I go? Oh, shapes. So let's say I wanted to, do, some fancy boxes. Don't panic. I'm going to go to shape fill, and I'm going to say no shape, no fill. And I might, let's make something really fancy. Let's do green, and let's make it, I think I like that one better. Now, if you decide to do something like this, either one of two things from the design standpoint. One, either only do it to your contact information. But if you are, or the other one is do it to all of your sections. Just understand this is going to take up more room. Now what this can do is it can add a visual interest to a very brief resume because you don't have much experience yet, but it can also take up too much room for a resume for someone who has a lot of experience. But if you're going to do it, then do it for all the sections. And you'll notice that all I did was copy and paste. And then I'm just going to move this up a little bit. And I copied and pasted it because I'm trying to get them the same length. And see, it doesn't look terrible, but I wouldn't, I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but I personally would not do it on every single one. But if you have if you have a short resume, that might help, because what you could do is then you could put some spaces in between here. Okay, I'm going to take that out. I'm going to take all that out. But the nice thing about it is, oh, keep going. There we go. The nice thing about it is that if you have formatted this a particular way and then gone in and added some design elements, it doesn't have to be the same design elements. Because what I would do if I were you, if I were actually turning this resume in, I would pull up the University of Houston website, and I would look at their colors that they use. And so I would have used a red, this similar to this, maybe a little bit darker, because it would look better on white paper. Just a little. It's kind of sketchy, I know, and I don't think anybody would say anything if I did it. I don't think it would get there'd be any negative connotation if I did it. Let's see, watch. Let's insert that. Let's do that again. So we're going to bring this all the way out to here, because I want to make sure I get it all the way. There we go. And I'm going to go fill, no fill. I wanted it a little bit weightier. And then I also, well, there's not really, oh, we got more colors. There we go. Maybe no, that looks closer to it. Yeah, okay. There we go. It's just a little psychological thing. It surrounds your name, and it's similar to the color. I mean, you don't have to use the exact color. It's similar to the color of UH's website. Oh, did I get out of it? And so it's a little campy, but you know, they may not realize it. Let's see if you want to look at the page source. Okay, I may not know how to find this. There's all the weights. Okay, they used a style sheet. I'm looking to see what the number is on the colors. Width. Yeah, I'm not getting it. If anybody knows how to do that and you want to send me an email about how to do that, feel free to send it to me, because I don't see what color that is. Still no. Yep, still. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and look for it. All right. Let's see. So, any questions, comments, queries you have, feel free to email me. I realize this is a awful long video. Please you don't have to sit and watch all of my videos all at one time. Just go through it, and piece by piece by piece as you're working on each of these. Also, don't try to do all of the sections of this assignment all at one sitting. It'll just frustrate you. None of my assignments should all be done in one sitting. If you're doing it all in one sitting, oh, you got my sympathy for sure. But go through and work. Say, okay, I'm going to work on this section, and then I'm going to work on this section. But take a break in between the sections too. All right. Email me or text me if you have questions. Have a good day.